Coming up soon, Chris and Stu will bring you all the latest in boxing, MMA and combat sports from around the globe. It's powered for TV's powerhouse, Big Fight Weekly, 100% live. Here's some of the best clips of Big Fight Weekly from 2021.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is episode 2 of Powered 4 TV Big Fight Weekly. We cover it fast, quick, boxing, MMA, quicker than Phileas Fogg around the world in a hot air balloon, Chris. And here is my co-host, Chris Hume. How are you, Chris?
Steve Coogan. Yeah, not bad. That's great, yeah.
Big Fight Weekly, faster than a Lyosa Machida crane kick to the face, Chris.
Which one? Belfort or Randy Couture's?
They were both equally good, mate. I was probably gearing towards Couture, but you know he was aging as a fighter. Welcome. It's episode 4 of Powered 4 TV Big Fight Weekly with myself, Stuart Palmer, and my co-host, my cousin, Chris Hume, and we're going to give you a deep dive in boxing and UFC and MMA this week again. God, I couldn't get my words out then, could I? Christ alive. And I tell you what, I'll just get it in there now before I forget, quicker than a Kamaru Usman takedown.
A double leg.
In a few moments, we'll be live in the studio with Chris and Stu.
This is Liam McGarry, and welcome to the Big Fight Weekly.
But yeah, I mean, like, I worked in construction, mate. Like, the recession kicked in and everything stopped. I was delivering TVs for this company, Fortuna, and it was crap, you know what I mean? But at least I wasn't so tired, so I could finish work quickly and then go to the gym, train for about 5-6 hours, and then go home, you know? So yeah, it was just a timing thing, and also, I guess it was the right time for me to go forward and pursue this fight career.
Yo. This is Stephen USSR Robinson on powerful.tv, a Big Fight Weekly for a special fight at Focus with Chris and Stu. Tune in. Boom!
And the whole USSR thing was, I think it was just a gimmick where we thought, right, you know, turn pro now, let's go off the back of the red and yellow, the Ivan Drago shorts, Rocky wasn't sensational hit. And I've been called it now for sort of 6 years within boxing, so we just decided to go along with it and you know give it a go and see how it went. And it's worked well.
Yeah, but you do look like him though, so you can't get away from that though. Right, yeah.
I'm trying to look for a photo of me real dad just to show you I look not where my man must have been at a Comic Con back in 1990.
Where Dolph Lundgren, yeah.
Brilliant.
He can throw a few punches here and there and not have that worry that someone's going to take him down, because you don't want to be, you don't want to be on top of him, or you don't want him on your back, because he's like an anaconda, and he'll find a way to submit you. And like I say, he's one of the best in the UFC with jiu-jitsu, and I think he's got most wins in UFC with submissions as well. It's an interesting fight, and it is really like a tale of Dustin Poirier's cardio, Dustin Poirier's heart, all that shit he had to go through with Conor McGregor. He silenced Conor McGregor, let's just say, in the last 2 fights completely, showed his heart, his desire,
And even Chael Sonnen has chimed in this week as well. He's going for Woodley to win this. How do you see it going, Chris?
Well, personally, I wouldn't go off what Chael Sonnen says, mate, because Chael Sonnen's record when it comes to prediction, he gets it terribly wrong.
Somebody said that below, but yeah, I'm with Chael on this one, but yeah.
I just think he gets it wrong all the time.
So I'm Dave Faulkner, two-time World Submission Wrestling Champion, Tough 9 participant, World MMA Champion, and this is Big Fight Weekly.
Well, 4 people had staff on the show at once, and it was very close for the whole show to get closed down. But then they brought in this ginger girl who was like a life coach, and she was she told us to use PMA, positive mental attitude, and she said to it, and I'll quote, she said, "If you tell yourself you ain't got staff, then you ain't got staff." And two of the American kids, get on this though, 2 of the American guys who had staff, we were going, yeah, I totally believe that, man. I totally believe it. They actually didn't have staff after 4 days or something. So it must work.
Hey guys, this is Jake Cross, President of UK Fighting Championships and owner of Empire Grappling. You are now tuning in to the Big Fight Weekly.
I can lean on them and they can lean on me, whereas Empire is just me. And I have a really bad tendency not to delegate. I like to control too much, and that's not because I'm a control freak. It's because if you can do it right, do it yourself, and that's sort of I just like live by that, and that's why it's getting to the point now where Empire's an animal. I have probably 60 staff on the day, which I can start to sort of lean on and delegate, but it all still comes back down to me. If there's a problem, it's there for me to fix.
You're like the younger version of Vince McMahon or Dana White, Jay.
Do you want to be referred to as the English Dana White? I've been referred to as the English Eddie, or the new breed of Eddie Hearn, which I would, if I make even 1% of what they've made, or even their success, I'll take that.
Hi guys, this is Thomas, professional MMA fighter, also ex-professional boxer. Make sure you tune in to Big Fight Weekly this week. Awesome podcast. Get involved.
Talking boxing, I'm going to say Marco Antonio Barrera. I used to love Ricky Hatton at the time because I was a big British boxing fan. And if I'm talking MMA, then I'm going to go with Chuck Liddell because he's the person who made me switch my boxing to MMA, and I just fell in love with the sport from then. Chuck Liddell when he fought Tito Ortiz, and then I was just from then on. It was no looking back, and that was a long time ago. I started MMA when I was 31, Joe, so it's like I started late in my career, so I needed to get a move on. So yeah, I couldn't wait around too much to see what was going on there, so I just moved on and got a few more fights, and then got HD management to sign me up on a management team, and then they looked after me from there. They got me all the fights, so I had some good management team.
This is your boy Chili Willie, ECW original, everybody's favorite homeboy. And yo, you need to check out the Big Fight Weekly.
Who does tougher training on
the body? Wrestlers, boxers, or MMA fighters? That's a good question. That is.
That is
Chili.
really a good question. That's huge, man. Wow, I would probably say MMA fighters, just because they have to not just deal with their hands and their feet, but they have to deal with the wrestling, the grappling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been a good long ride, hasn't it? We've had some absolutely fantastic fights, along the way since we started the show. You've got to jump out and say Brett Thomas and his constant Jake and Logan Paul, comments for the whole almost 12 months of us doing this. So there's been some sure good highlights.
Thank you to all the guests that have come on as well. We've had a few of them, and we've tried to mix it up. It wasn't just about reviewing, previewing. We've tried to mix it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for all the latest fight action. Direct from Wales in the United Kingdom, 100% live, it's Big Fight Weekly with your hosts Chris Hume and Stu Palmer.
I look into the mirror and all I see is failure staring back at me.
A warm Welcome. It is episode 46 of the Big Fight with myself, Stu Palmer, and my co-host and cousin Chris Hume. How are we, Chris?
Yeah, good. Good.
Oh, good. And a big thank you to Mike Angus for the ring announcing intro. I've not thanked him for that on our little video countdown clip there, so thank you to him. Thank you to Thank you to Obey Escape for the music as always as well. And yeah, Chris, we've got a lot to get through today. We'll be talking about UFC 271, which was fantastic. But we're going to start off with a grudge match, which has been talked about for years. It's took very, very long for it to happen, Chris. I'm talking like 8, 9, 10 years of this. They're going to fight. They haven't fought. They're going to fight. Yeah, it's on. No, it's not. And we're finally getting it. But is it too late as it's Amir Khan versus Kell Brook? Chris, what are your thoughts first and foremost on this?
Well, they've had quite an interesting careers, haven't they? Parallels and winning titles in divisions. And I was watching something on it earlier today. There's someone made like a documentary, and they're using Sky Sports and HBO sort of videos. And I didn't know much of the history of why they hate each other so much. So it was quite intriguing for me to sort of get a sort of an insight to why has this become such a hated fueled sort of hate. I think it's like, as you say, I've watched like the fights, and it is quite a late in the time sort of fight, isn't it? This fight should have been made 5-6 years ago in their primes.
Maybe longer, but yeah, it would have been better 5-6 years ago, no doubt, because they've had losses. All right, they've fought Golovkin and Sal Canelo respectively, Alvarez. So yeah, you can kind of take that. They've gone up against the elite. But this fight should have happened. I know we've said about it for weeks and months since it got announced, but this fight should have happened sooner. And, they're 11th and 13th respectively in the WBC as well. But, I just wonder what will be next for him after this. And I'm not sure who to go for winning it. I'm thinking Amir Khan, My head's saying Amir Khan. But I was a big fan of Kell Brook back in the day as well. He had some great nights at world title level. But I just feel Amir Khan's going to beat him.
Who fought out of the both of them? Who's the last to fight?
It's got to be Khan against. I'm trying to think. It was Billy Dibb last who he had, but I think it was Khan prior before Brook, after Brook. Sorry, but yeah, I just wonder what the hell's going to happen after this, because Conor Ben's going to hold some cards. If they want another domestic fight after this one, you look at Conor Ben and his standing. All right, he's been more active. We get that. But he's in more of the boxing boards, within the top 10, 15. Like he's ranked like 6th, 4th, 7th in the different boxing boards. So I think he holds the cards. All right, financially, they're going to have the pulling power. They're more well known. But I'm don't want to look past this fight. But I'm just wondering what will happen afterwards. But yeah, I think Amir Khan's going to win this, Chris.
Is this in a stage for, like, say, for an example now? I'm not saying that the comparisons to these two fighters I'm going to bring up. But the whole sort of situation around the fight, is it much like Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, how that got dragged on for years and years and years? And by the time they finally sort of, got in the ring together, it was awful. It wasn't what people expected,
They went at weights to fight different people as well. Do you know what I mean? They're not. It's not a cop out as such, because they fought people on the way. I know Amir Khan had a fantastic match against Maidana. Maidana. A lot of people said when Mayweather fought him the first time, they felt Maidana had won the fight, hadn't they? So Khan, we know he's got a bit of it. His chin's always been an issue, but he has beaten a lot of people. When you look through his record, I don't think he gets the respect he deserves. I think he's had bigger fights than Kell Brook's had, is what I'm saying. More fights, more high caliber level of opponent than Kell Brook. That's why I think I'm, teetering towards Amir Khan for the victory this Saturday night.
Well, they both fought some high quality, as you just said, like Errol Spence, Crawford, Terrence Crawford. So they fought, the two best in the business currently in the division. So it's hard for me because when you've had such a long layoff, and I'm not going to look towards MMA and this sort of thing, because I can make more of a better comparison to that, but. When you've had a long layoff and you're coming back into a combat sports, and it's a violent sort of situation, it is, and their age they're at, and the fights they've had, and they've obviously gone to war so many times, and they fought some of the best, if not best, in the world. and they've been away for so long. Is this fight going to be one of them where people are excited to see it, but when it actually goes down on Saturday night, it's a bore?
I still think it'll be exciting as much as I'm downplaying it, not in their prime anymore. I think it will deliver. Cal Brook made a point as well. He said, I went straight into the pro game, really, whereas Amir Khan went through the Olympic route first, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He said, I never wanted to do that. So they've had two different trajectories in the early portions of their career. Because I don't know how many amateur fights Cal Brook had, himself. I'm sure he had a few, didn't he? But he was very young turning pro. I know Khan did the Olympics. Then he had a couple of amateur bouts, didn't he, before he went pro? So yeah, I'm trying to encompass it from both sides, really. But who do you think's going to win? I'll ask you.
Out of the two, because I've watched him today, and they're very different, aren't they, in the skill set of how they set things up and how their movement and then obviously Amir Khan's speed, but then Amir Khan's got a really, really problematic jaw, hasn't he? Would you say a glass jaw? Because he does get hit, but he has been hit by heavy hitters. He has been hit by power punches, and he has been dropped. And Cal Brook isn't exactly a slouch in the punch and power department. He's not a knockout artist, but he can put him to sleep because it's that issue of, can he take a punch? And even at this age now, can he still take a punch? Is that speed Amir Khan, where when he was with Freddie Roach, where he was very elusive and he was on the outside, didn't he? And he was quick and he used his 1-2s, came in and then went back out again to avoid the shot. Can he still do that?
I don't think so. Going back to the last fight he had, it was July the 12th, 2019, when he fought Billy Dibb. So we're talking, we're approaching 3 years. Let's say, just for argument's sake, it was 2.5 years. So he's not been in the ring since then. And then Cal Brook, because I can't think off the top of my head when he last fought, so I'll just go on here. Terrence Crawford, which was the 14th of November, 2020. So Cal Brook's had the bigger fight. And he's fought more recently, Chris. He was TKO by Terrence Crawford, but I mean, come on.
But there's
best pound for pound.
Yeah.
So maybe Cal Brook is the front runner because he's fought the higher caliber opponent. Nobody knew who Billy Dibb was, but as Amir Khan said, Chris, he made 10 million out of that fight. But it was out in Saudi Arabia, so they're throwing a lot of money at.
They'll
throw more money than what you'd get in America and Europe.
It's one of them because you don't know behind closed doors of what Amir Khan's been up to, what he's been training on, what he's been working on. It's hard to see what I mean. You'd be like to be like a fly on the wall and see what these guys have been doing and what they've been setting up, tactically when they sort of fight each other. It's been great to see. But I don't know. I've watched more Amir Khan than I have of Cal Brook. Obviously, I know Amir Khan a bit more name value than Cal Brook. So yeah, I'd probably go with Amir Khan in this aspect. Just only because I've seen more of his fights, and I'll always like, minus his jaw, we forget about his problematic jaw and not being able to take a punch, but his speed and his 1-2s were up fantastic when he's in his prime, and it was so in and out and had really good head movement, and he was moving about really well. And yeah, I'll probably side with that only because I know Amir Khan a bit more better than I do Cal Brook. But I've watched some Cal Brook fights. I think last one I remember watching was the Golovkin one, and he did really well against Golovkin.
Early on he did, but man, did his eye take a pounding? And that's I know he's fought since because he fought Golovkin a long time ago. But yeah, that was a bad eye injury that for Brook.
But he was doing really well in that fight.
Early on he was really good. It was almost as if it's what Canelo and Golovkin like to do, though.
Lay traps and
false sense of security. But also on the flip side, Chris, Khan has fought Terrence Crawford as well. He got stopped in the 6th round. So, I just it styles make fights, don't they, Chris? You can look at who they fought previously. They both. I hate to use that cliched line, Chris.
Isaac's made a comment here, Stu.
Right, okay. Let's have a look. Hi, guys. I'm putting bets on Khan smashing him in the 3rd round. And he's changed his name. He's actually down as Isaac. With a Z, not an S, though. And 2, okay. And a K as well. But he's not Tyler T anymore. He's changed his name. So there we go. Yeah, you're thinking on the same lines as me. I think a bit later than the 3rd round. It might go the full 12.
Yeah, it's
you
possible.
because they're going to be quite rusty, I should imagine. So it might be a 12-rounder, with points decision for Conor. I'm going for.
But they're going to have to work each other out as well. And you haven't been in any sort of combat sports situation for a while. You're having to sort of work each other out and see, what you're throwing, what they're going to throw, and they're countering it in between.
I am looking forward to it. But it's just, I will go back to the fact, imagine what we could have had years ago. But, it's a domestic terror. We do them the best in the world. Like there's no question of that, and the crowd is going to be amazing in Manchester. So I am still looking forward to it, but they're just a little bit past the old prime, aren't they?
This is why boxing needs to sort the situation out. And when you've got two big guys who are next to each other and want to fight, put them together. Stop holding it off. Just put them together. I think everyone would be happy in the boxing world, boxing community, if you could get two fighters, like this fight in Pacquiao, Mayweather, and Fury and Joshua, and get them sorted, get them done, get them out of the way, and then everyone's happy. And not having this if and buts, and then you're getting them, as you say, 10 years down the line, and you're thinking, yeah, you're excited because you want to see it, but it doesn't have the same sort of pulling power as it would have done 10 years previous.
Testament to the two men as well, as I've said in previous episodes, because they sold the arena out in 30 minutes. So regardless of them being in peak, out of peak, they still sold 20,000 tickets. And also, people just remember this is on Sky Box Office. Yeah. Which a lot of people are like, why is this on Box Office?
Yeah, it's one of them, Stuart. And I don't know if you have frozen or you are. I don't know. I think you have. I don't know. It's one of them, and I think it's like in regards to boxing that they should have put things together. Things have to be moved quicker, and so people get to have fights that they want to see. I obviously a big MMA fan, and when we talk about MMA on the show, it's like I prefer to see these fights get put together as quickly as possible and not having to wait as we're having to wait now for this fight to take place 10 years when these guys aren't really in the prime, and it's not as exciting as I think it is. If in my sort of say if I cross this now is say John Jones versus Ngannou. We know that John Jones is moving up a weight. We know Ngannou's a champion. People are desperate to see that get put together. And it's a shame, obviously, right now. And yes, Stuart's gone, so it's just me at the moment. So yeah, you want to get these fights put together. This is why it frustrates me with boxing is that you're having to wait so many years down the line to get these fights put together, and you're not having that sort of satisfaction to see two guys in the prime go at it. I'm not sure how this is something that boxing really needs will sort out in the future. I think really somewhere down the line they need to sort of fix it and put it together so people are getting the fights they want and not having to wait. But that is what it is. This is why it's a bit different in MMA. You do get two guys fighting each other in their prime. There's problems with John Jones and Ngannou. I know last year they tried to put that together and it didn't happen. I think they both wanted more money. Obviously, this situation in UFC, and you get unfortunately people like Jake Paul are making the sort of situation loud, so people can actually see there's money issues in UFC where fighters aren't getting paid the value. You're looking at the likes of Ngannou, and if you went to boxing, if Ngannou was going for Fury, for example, he would be getting millions and millions of pounds, where in his last fight against Cyril Gane, he only got 600,000, and for a champion in UFC, that's, to me, it's disgusting, really. But if you look at it, if he fought Fury, you're looking at Ngannou would have been pulled in £5-6 million for the fight, possibly. But it's very frustrating, and I think Stuart's back now, so we can get back to someone who understands boxing more than I do.
Hello, sorry about that. It's just clipped out the broadband, but it's all right now. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I'm back. Sorry, mate. Sorry, I apologise.
No,
but yeah, just obviously we can close out from the boxing now. Yeah. So, Chris, who are you going for before we move on to UFC 271?
I think I'll go with Khan.
So that's me, you, and Isaac with Khan. We're unanimous on that one.
But what I'll say on the flip side is I'm not going to cry any over spilled milk if Brook beat him.
No. That's I respect Brook. I do respect Brook, but yeah. So we will look forward to that. Manchester Arena, which sold out in 30 minutes, and also Sky Box Office.
How much is it from Sky Box Office?
It's going to be that $19.95 price point, Chris.
Why don't they just make it £20? Why have to go?
I don't know. I don't know. Round it up or make it 99 or something. But
or better yet, make it free for people to watch on the telly, so people they'll get millions and millions, just like Boxer did the other week when they got 1 million people watching it.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't get why they don't do this. To throw in a freebie, get people enticed. I'd never understand why box office is still a thing in the UK. In America, fair enough, because in America it does its job. Even though I think the prices for say UFC's gone up on ESPN, which is disgusting, and I'm glad we don't have to pay. Is it 80 quid per pay per view? But
it's ridiculous. It's well overpriced.
I just think in terms of box office in this country, it's dead. I think these sort of fights, especially domestic tear-ups, as you would say in your wording, they should be live on TV. They got to put them free live on Sky Sports, not box office. Give it to ITV. Give it to someone that I mean. This fight would sell if it was not on box office. More so if it is what is on box office per se. But
Are we moving on to UFC 271, Chris? And the main event, there's been a bit of controversy on the victor. I know you've got a lot. I know you've got a lot to say about this, Chris. And I've read a lot online. Some people felt Robert Whittaker did enough to win it. But yeah, 48-47, 48-47, and a 49-46, Chris. I don't know where he put that score at the third judge, because that was far too wide.
49-46. I don't know what fight he was watching though, Stuart, at all.
Did he have like a blanket over his head or something?
I don't. I've watched it again today because obviously I watched it live and I stayed up for it on the weekend. But I had more of an idea now watching it back. Also, like I didn't really listen to the judges. I just saw obviously Adesanya got the victory, and I was a bit like, I don't know. And I've obviously been wanting to speak to you about it for a few days because I felt in myself that this fight was closer. And I said to you last week, this fight would be closer. But watching it back again today and actually proper analysing the fight I feel like Whittaker won round 3, 2, 3, and 4. No, 2, 3, and 5. Sorry, I just think he won. I think the third round was close. But I think Adesanya won the first round because he dropped him and it was in control. The second round, I think you saw Whittaker use the takedowns, mix up, but I think he was striking more. The third round was very close. You could easily give it either way, but I think Adesanya might just pinch the third round. The fourth round, yes, Adesanya. I think I could. Did I get it right? Yeah. Well, hold on. I'll get back to myself. And then the fifth round, I thought Whittaker completely controlled it. Used to takedowns, and the striking, no shoot to me. And I'm waffling and moving quickly here, but the striking comparison to Whittaker in Adesanya, and I don't know what the stats say, but in my eyes, I'm watching it. Whittaker was connecting more with his striking than Adesanya was. I felt like after the first round, Adesanya was throwing a lot of feints, not really connecting with Whittaker, but obviously throwing some quite ferocious leg kicks and calf kicks to him. But other than that, I didn't see anything else other than Whittaker hitting him with a 1-2 while he was going with a straight jab, but he was connecting every time. And I didn't really see much striking in Adesanya. I didn't. I know people would say, well, when Whittaker took Adesanya down, Adesanya pretty much got up straight away. But you've got to go to a point where even if you're taking someone down, that should count as a point per se to the judges. It baffles me that especially the commentary, Stuart, and I want what your opinion on this, but they were so biased towards Adesanya yet again, like in a Blachowicz fight. They're making
Bisping was on one of the big cards commentating as well.
Because of Joe Rogan, obviously in Joe Rogan's situation, But honestly, it annoyed me because I felt it was so biased towards Adesanya. I don't think Whittaker they didn't speak about how well Whittaker was doing enough for me, and I think Whittaker. I didn't think he struggled. I think he bettered Adesanya after the first round. I don't think Adesanya really laid the glove on him, other than the leg kicks. It baffles me how these sort of fights are given to fighters who are champions and superstars. But really, when you look at the fight they've lost, I can wheel these off for you. Let's say Covington and Usman, very good fight, very close, but I think Covington won the last 3 rounds. But you can still sort of give it either way. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think Garn beating Ngannou. I think Garn got 3 rounds to 2. We can go way back. I've got to think of this. The guy that John Jones fought, Reyes. Dominic Reyes versus John Jones. And I thought Reyes beat John Jones in that fight as well. And it's things like this that really frustrate me. It's either the judging is absolutely awful, or there's something going on here that we're not precedent to in the back scenes, obviously.
It would beg the question, wouldn't it? There's some favouritism going on. Are we going to say there's like backhanders or something going on, Chris? Do you think there's money changing hands and we don't know about it with the judges? Am I clutching at something that's not actually there?
I don't know, because obviously these are opinions, and everyone could think differently. But a lot of other sort of content creators and do mixed martial arts and watch this event have all gone and said Whittaker won the fight. I just don't see where Adesanya really pulled away. He dropped him, yeah, but Whittaker got straight back up. And I just didn't see Adesanya do anything that really pulls me to think, oh yeah, he might have just pinched it. Because I didn't see any of that. I saw Whittaker was coming in, he was hitting him. They weren't great shots, and it wasn't a great fight. It was quite dull, wasn't it? But it's one of them, isn't it? They fought before, and I suppose it's hard to fight again, being less frantic and a bit more technical and slowing things down and working things out when you're fighting an opponent you've already fought. But I don't know. I had Whittaker winning this fight, Stuart. I was shocked when Adesanya got given the nod by the judges. I should say 49-46 by one of the judges.
Far too wide. We've had 49-46 since we've done this show since last year. That 49-46 crops up a hell of a lot, doesn't it? There's no way, you can have it tight on a 48-47. I can kind of see it, but, either way, a 48-47, because he was doing enough. He kept himself busy. Were we expecting a bit more from it? I think maybe, there was something was awry, wasn't it, somewhere? But do we get a third fight, Chris? Because Whittaker in the post-fight has said, a third fight. Do you not think they'll go that route? No, because he's two down.
I think obviously we'll get to Cannonier, after the co-main when we finish with this one. But obviously Cannonier is definitely the next fight for Adesanya, and I think that's June. They're looking at, I think, which is International Fight Week, isn't it? I don't know. It's hard for me because it's like, can you sell another fight between Adesanya and Whittaker? Even though I think I'd imagine majority of MMA fans would agree that Whittaker won the fight. I don't know. People that are watching this right now, I'd love your comments to see what you thought about Whittaker and Adesanya. And did you think Whittaker was robbed in this fight, or did you think Adesanya, won the fight the way the judges thought he did? I don't know, Stuart. I think if for Whittaker after this fight now to get back in line against Adesanya, I think Vettori would be an absolute perfect opponent for him now, because what's the point of throwing him back against everybody else? Because he beats everybody else, and you're left with Whittaker versus who? And then he's going to have to start rematching fights, because there's no one really bursting through middleweight at the moment who's a rising star that you can go, oh, hold on, he could be the guy. There isn't anybody. So you've got Whittaker and Vettori, who are probably the next two best in that division. Jared Cannonier is a great fighter, but Robert Whittaker's already beaten him. Vettori, I think, could beat him, because Vettori could use the heavy ground game he uses, and I think he could stifle Cannonier. But they're the best. And then you've got Izzy. I can't physically look at that division and say there's anyone else that can leapfrog. There is one guy, but he's at welterweight, but he has fought at middleweight, Stuart. And that is Hazmat Shemaev. He's also come out and said that he'd kill Izzy with his wrestling. He has very choice of words.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But he's got business at 170. But hey, like you say, he can do 185. And
he's done it, yeah.
That's. I do think he would be very problematic, as he's saying. I think he backs up what he's saying. He's not just saying it for the sake of it. He would be able to do it. There's no question. But yeah, just obviously we're going to talk about Cannonier in a minute. Going in as number one contender. I'm sure we're going to talk about at length. But yeah, anything else for this to close out before we move on to Tuivasa? Sorry.
Tuivasa, yes.
Yeah, not Tuivasa.
I just, like I say, I thought, and it was one of these fights again, and that we've seen in the last 12 months, and title fights now, that really, looking at it, should have gone the other way, but they haven't. And it could be that, the judges are just not doing their job properly, or UFC are protecting their superstars. Obviously, my opinion, I don't know. I could be wrong. Adesanya has won the fight, and he's done it as what everyone thinks he's done it. The judges and the biased commentary of UFC. I personally had Whittaker, and it's horrible to think a guy like that who clearly won is now back of the line, and really he's got nowhere to go at the moment. It's a shame for Whittaker. That's what I'll sort of end this on.
Absolutely. So Adesanya retains, carries on. Still only the one loss in his career when he went up to light heavyweight against Jan Blachowicz. But yeah, I'm sure Robert Whittaker will come again, Chris. Hopefully, as you were saying, maybe Vettori next. That'd be a good start stylistically, I'm sure. And Isaac's back. You were right, Chris. There is always room for more fights in the year. We have a good field of competition in boxing right now. Let's see if everyone gets a go at each other. Yet the fights are there to be made, there's no question. And I think Conor Ben is ready for one of them too. I think we need another domestic battle. And Brady Barlow, good friend of myself and Chris's. Hello, mate. Afternoon, boys. Afternoon to you too, pal. All good, Brady. Good to have you on.
We'll move
Absolutely. Here we go, Chris. And tight Tuivasa, Chris. Defeats, one of the strongest punches in heavyweight in the whole of MMA, Mr. Derek Lewis, and the Houston hoodoo continues for Derek Lewis, Chris, because he was favourite leading into this. But I tell you what, Tuivasa, what a performance, and he kept coming at him, didn't he? When they were trading, before the finish of the fight as well. He was right up there with him, wasn't he? And he was throwing at him. What a courageous performance on his behalf, unbelievable.
Yeah, he did, and he did get wobbled by Derek Lewis a few times. I must sort of forget the striking for a minute and say I was amazed by Derek Lewis's takedowns. I didn't see them coming. I didn't imagine that he'd go for a sweep in the first round, and then he went for a little judo throw as well. I was a bit pulled back, as the commentary said about, Ngannou's taking people down. Now you got Derek Lewis taking people down, two guys who are known for knocking people out with one punch, and they're mixing it up. I think that's great. You know what I mean? I'd love to see it. But unfortunately for Derek Lewis, I think he was anxious. I think you could see the anxiety when he was fighting. I know when Derek Lewis goes, he goes, and when he's he goes. I mean, when he strikes, he puts everything in, and he's like a train, isn't he? But I just thought I felt it was very anxious in this fight. I think he was finding it difficult again in Houston to sort of fight amongst people. I don't think Derek Lewis should fight in Houston. I just don't. I think he can't handle that pressure. I could see it in the fight. It was very sloppy because when he was coming in, he was getting caught by Tuivasa because Tuivasa was setting him up when he was coming in, and he was trying to clinch work with him. Those elbows were alarmingly there on show before he got knocked out by the elbow up against the cage via a clinch. But yeah, he survived quite a beret of shots. Did Tuivasa in the first round when they were getting up, and then in the second round again, he got caught. But he was rattled, but I don't think he was wobbly. What the turning point here is when Tuivasa actually connected with Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis was wobbly all over the place, which I wasn't expecting that. I thought it would be the other way round. And obviously, at that point was the end game for Derek Lewis because he got him against the fence. He actually had the clinch work. He was in control of the clinch against the fence. Gets turned round, and that elbow from that picture. And I'll bring it back up, Stuart, because this is the kill shot right here. And bang!
What a mix of striking as well. As you can see there, the elbow. But my word, just incredible. But yeah, that encapsulates everything you need to say. Unbelievable. And Chris, he was 11th. He was ranked 11th leading into this as well. It's a huge march up the rankings for him. And at 28, Chris, he's a lot younger than a lot of the other guys, isn't he, within the division? Okay, Tom Aspinall around the same age.
Yeah.
He's got a long way to go, hasn't he? Were you surprised by him? And can he be a problem for people further up? Is he a contender? Is he a contender at championship level for you?
Not yet. I think we're going to have to see Ty fight one more person. I think one more person. But I've heard. I don't know if it's official yet, but I've heard that Ngannou's expected to be out between 9 and 10 months. I don't know if that's been officially announced yet, but from what I've been reading, I've been speaking to some people. They said 9 to 10 months, and it's a hard slog now, isn't it? I know heavyweights don't fight more than 3 fights a year anyway. So when we could get another fight in for, say, Derek Lewis and Tai Tuivasa, I think he needs one more fight, Stuart. And I think if Tom Aspinall beats Volkanov in March in the London card, I think you could see Tai Tuivasa versus Tom Aspinall for the number 1 contender. But also, I did say to you last week, the rumor is that Miocic and John Jones are going to be penciled in, Stuart, for a fight, which is long overdue for John Jones at heavyweight. So that could scupper anything, couldn't it, really?
Absolutely. So many options in that division.
Curtis Blade would be a good fight for...
absolutely. Hey,
he's booked up. He's booked up now as well, though.
Don't count him out. He's another one on his night. He's devastating, isn't he? He's a fantastic. They're all fantastic. They're all really good to watch. And we love a knockout, don't we? We love a KO.
Yeah.
So after the main event, it was nice to see a KO in brutal fashion.
But I think he was wobbly. He was wobbly at that point.
Yeah.
When he tried to clinch up, because obviously he clinched up to sort of save himself. But I just, like I said, I think Derek Lewis was struggling in that fight. Not the fight per se. I think everything around him. It was like Cyril Gane all over again.
Yeah. I think Ty sensed blood, didn't he?
Yes.
I think he knew from once he started connecting on that rally there. My word. But yeah, as you say, he cannot break this Houston hoodoo, can he? He just got that's how I've termed it. You see,
I think it's probably best he doesn't fight in Texas or maybe Houston again. Really, just to save face for himself. I think it happens with fighters. Certain fighters can't fight in their hometowns or their own countries. Sometimes they're better fighting away. For Derek Lewis, that probably is the case. That maybe goes back to the drawing board and but doesn't fight in Houston. He's not going anywhere. This is the first proper TK knockout of his career, properly. Don't forget he fought in Ngannou, and Ngannou didn't knock him out. He did beat Ngannou as well. Don't forget this was after Miocic fight though, so Ngannou was in transition.
He was in a transition. I was going to say, it was the timing of that, but they can't knock him. You can't knock him. He's got that on his resume, and as we say, the heavyweight division is as hot as it's ever been. So many matches to come up, Chris. Are we going to move on, Chris?
Yeah, to another lovely KO, should we say.
As we said earlier, we've got a new number 1 contender at middleweight. And as you said last week, Chris, he fought as high up as heavyweight did Jared Cannonier. But a fantastic stoppage victory of Derek Brunson, Chris. And just fantastic. What performance. I thought Derek Brunson, he did get a few of the takedowns, didn't he? But it was like 3 of 12, which is, testament to Cannonier because we know how good, he's good with his wrestling, his Brunson. But yeah, Chris, what a performance. What another fantastic KO for him. And he's elevated him into title contention now. He's going to get the next shot, isn't he?
Well, yeah, that is now set in stone. Unless an injury happens, and touch wood, that doesn't happen. Adesanya does need fresh blood, does need to fight against in this division. Jared Cannonier is definitely going to be that guy now. He was great in this fight, Stuart. He did get caught by Derek Brunson, and Derek Brunson caught him
not just
really good. The wrestling side of Derek Brunson's always there. Derek Brunson can take a lot of these fighters down. I'm still like to see him and Vettori go at it, though. That would be very, very, an interesting fight to see who's got the better wrestling here. But Derek Brunson, I think, in this fight he put a lot of his gas tank in taking Cannonier down, and I think in the second round you saw that because he got a bit confused, like say a minute in when he couldn't get that takedown, and then Cannonier caught him just with one little clip, and it just sent his head in a spiral. And then Cannonier, as you said about Tai Tuivasa smelling blood, he saw all of it coming. I think he envisioned exactly what was going to happen within that second. He clipped Derek Brunson, and then Derek Brunson did a slight little chicken dance, and it was like, right, that's it. And he went for the kill, Stuart. And those elbows on the floor were disgusting.
Yes, absolutely. And he's so, you bigged him up last week saying, his striking. And his power, and it's incredible, and it's mad to think he was up at heavyweight, Chris.
Yeah.
But fantastic for him. And I'm paraphrasing him here. I know he's got the title shot, but he did say, "Hey Dana, I want the next shot." So yeah, that was paraphrasing Jared there, but a fantastic victory for him, and a title fight in the offing. So moving on as well with Derek Brunson. Who next for Derek Brunson, Chris?
Actually, it's a good question to say that. So, shall I get the table up?
Absolutely get it. Yeah, we'll have the rankings up.
Because I think we can get I need to know who's booked. I don't want to stop throwing names out per se.
And don't forget, Brunson was on a 5-fight streak, wasn't he, leading into
here
this?
We go.
So it's only a minor blip, isn't it, Chris? On Brunson's end.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He was on a tear. He was on an absolute tear, wasn't he? 2 years there.
He was. Right, here we go. Can you see it?
No.
You can't see it?
I can't see it, mate. Oh, here we go, mate. Here we go. Right, okay.
So I'm obviously this is going off what was currently next fight setup. As you can see, Whittaker and Adesanya are booked on here, but obviously they fought on the weekend. You've got to look at Brunson. It could be Jack Hermanson because he fought Sean Strickland last weekend and lost it was a quite close decision, but Sean Strickland is quietly moving up the table here at 185 so that could be another fight for Izzy maybe down the line. Obviously Derek Brunson's fought Darren Till, so there's no point in that. Maybe Kelvin Gastelum or maybe Uriah Hall if he comes through his next fight.
Gastelum needs a victory there, doesn't he? As does you have to look at Darren Till. They're desperate for victories, aren't they, down there? But they're still they're still within the reaches.
Oh yeah.
You can't write them off. You can never write them off.
No, but you also got to take into account that like Whittaker and Adesanya have beaten majority of people that we're looking at here in front of us, and it's a hard sell to put one of these fighters that have already beaten you, and unless you're a champion, to sort of rematch because it's got to be a reason, isn't it? Like
What about having 5th versus 6th there? Why Strickland and Brunson?
But Strickland's on a winning streak, isn't he? And he's just beat Jack Hermanson, so it's Sean Strickland. But then again, actually, Stuart, we could do that. Luke Rockhold's meant to be coming back to 185.
Oh, Chris,
I know, but I know, but he's
all that momentum years ago, and then it just hasn't been the same fighter, has he? Or do you think he can have an Indian summer?
Michael Bisping ruined that for him, killed his jaw.
Can he get back? Can he get back into it?
I don't know. He trains still at AKA. It's one of them where your heart goes, and I think you're there just for the money. Then, even though obviously the money, and I said this when you went off screen, Stuart, but the money situation in UFC is a bit awry, isn't it, with fighters? I don't know. Luke Rockhold's still a name and a former champion, though, and I feel like he can sort of get in the mix just because of his name. And he's on a loss. He needs a fight. Who better else than put Derek Brunson versus Luke Rockhold? Mm-hmm. If Luke Rockhold comes back and bounces Derek Brunson off the canvas, then Luke Rockhold's back in the fray at middleweight. If Derek Brunson beats Luke Rockhold, then other fights have already happened. In and around this fight happening, then Derek Brunson can look for someone else he can fight. I just don't think you can put him in like Sean Strickland together because Sean Strickland's, I think he's on the up at the moment. And I think the likes of Sean Strickland, I don't even know where he's going to go actually because there's so many fights that in that division are on a losing streak to ones that are on a winning streak. Do you know what I mean? You could give Sean Strickland.
It's got to make sense, hasn't it? In a lot of respects.
You could give Vittorio Whittaker Sean Strickland and see let's see where your level is.
Yeah.
But it's thrown him into the Wolves then. Do you want to throw another contender to the Wolves and then we're back again to square one where Adesanya's having to rematch this guy?
I don't know if it's my connection or yours. You're back.
We are back. We are back.
You are back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just checking my connection again, but it seemed okay.
So that's it. That's it in a nutshell, really.
Absolutely. So middleweight division as well. Plenty of competition for places. There's plenty of fight options as well, which is great for the division as a whole. Absolutely. And Chris, are we going to preview Fight Night Walker versus Hilton? I don't know too much about Hill, but we know about Johnny Walker.
Wrong one.
Johnny Walker, Chris, is probably more famed for tripping on a stage than actually what he's done in the octagon. But he is. I know. He's got a bit of charisma about him, to say the least.
Yeah, and I don't know with Johnny Walker because we covered this fight against Thiago Santos, didn't we, last year? And it's not long ago when he fought Thiago Santos. Actually, I think it was October, November when he fought him on a fight night. Yeah. And it was quite lackluster, wasn't it? It wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. I thought it'd be quite, a banger, but it wasn't really. They were very technical and they didn't really want to engage. I don't know. See, Jamal Hill fought Paul Craig a few. Was it last year? Yeah, it might have been last year. And these two had a lot of hatred between each other, and they fought. And Paul Craig, the Scotsman, very underrated on the ground is Paul Craig. He broke Jamal Hill's arm. It's horrid, you could see it and snap but Jamal come back and he beat Jimmy Crute, knocked him out. And I can sort of get that up actually.
Jimmy Crute's a tank as well.
Yes,
he's a big guy at the weight.
Oh, there we go. He didn't fight that long ago, Stuart. Yeah, Jimmy Crute was December the 4th.
Right. Okay.
So he fought
another quick turnaround. As we've had in like with last week's fights. He's back in there.
Yeah, and he's fought Oven St. Prove as well, and he's beaten him with TKO. A TKO victory with him. His only loss in the UFC was against Paul Craig, which for some reason down on Wikipedia it's down as a TKO with elbows and punches, but he broke his arm in it.
Anybody can adjust a Wikipedia.
Yeah,
just go in and start typing, and they don't know the facts. But
I remember the lies when we used to sign play shoot, and we didn't. And I used to look at Wikipedia, and it was all lies. Never fall for that trap.
At least you knew it was wrong on there. Then anyway.
Yes.
And also, Chris, just to go back to his name, Johnny Walker. I never thought this guy was Brazilian. You see a name and there's no flag or whatever.
Yeah,
it's the most obscure Brazilian name I've ever heard. I thought, this guy could be American. He could be from the UK. So yeah, just a little side note. Or Johnny Walker whiskey.
Well, here's a side note as well, Stuart. He trains at SBG Island as well.
I didn't know that until you just told me.
Oh, there you go. Hasn't done him a world of good though, mind you, because he still hasn't been great.
No. Are you going with Hill on this one, Chris?
I'm just going to look at Johnny Walker's last couple of fights here. Well, see, here you go. He's 1 win in 4, Stuart, currently. His last win was against Ryan. His last win was in 2020 against Ryan Spann. Corey Anderson, who's currently number 1 contender for the Bellator Light Heavyweight Championship. It was the guy that sent this Johnny Walker into a spiral because he'd never lost a fight in the UFC till he fought Corey Anderson, and Corey Anderson TKO'd him. He also then lost to Nico Clivov, decision, beat Spann, and obviously we saw the Santos sort of his loss to I can't say his word. His loss to Thiago Santos back in October. So I don't know, who would you say really is who's got the sort of the narrative here? Who's got the confidence to go and win?
I would say Hill off who he's fought. He's in a better spot, isn't he, in more recent times? But yeah, when you 1-4, the pressure's on, isn't it? Because he one more, he's getting cut unless he's still in contract with them. I don't know how many fights he's got left, but it leads you to believe if Walker goes to 1-5, he's in trouble of getting cut, surely. And how many has been cut already at 1-4? He's lucky because people go at 1-3, don't they? And they get cut, and they get cut. So Dana obviously likes him.
I don't know why, to be honest with you. I don't see anything really. I don't see anything. I don't. In a division at 205, which I feel like it's there for the taking. Without John Jones being there, and there's a lot older guys at 205. It's there for the taking. But here's Stuart. I'm just going to bring it up if it lets me. This is the fight card for the weekend. Can you see
Yes,
it?
lovely. I think just give it a little zoom in, Chris. It's a little bit. I'm squinting even with my glasses on here, just so people can see.
Blind bastard.
I know.
There you go.
We've got a catch weight, Chris. Kyle Dawkins.
Yes.
This is Jamie Pickett.
Yeah, that would be because Dorcas was meant to fight someone else. He's pulled out, and Jamie Pickett couldn't make the weight, so they've sort of there you go. That's the catch weights there. That's the situation.
Met him halfway, haven't they? There, absolutely. And then we've got there Parker Porter. Yeah, this is Alan Badeau. Chris, do you know much about them two?
Not particularly. I haven't really watched more. Parker Porter is quite new, isn't he? Just not really. I haven't really watched him. I know Alan Bulldog. I think one of them is 6 foot, Stuart, and really shouldn't be a heavyweight.
Oh my god!
I can't remember which one it was now. But one of them, I can't remember. But one of them 6 foot, Stuart, and they're not heavyweight. They're light heavyweight, really. But obviously they need to sort the diet out. I can't remember which one it is, Stuart. But I don't.
Jim Miller below Chris as well, the veteran. He's not been doing. He's been doing relatively well, hasn't he? Considering the number of years he's been with the promotion, you know.
He won by TKO in his last fight, Stu. He's had a bit of a renaissance, hasn't he? As Jim Miller, as you say, he's in his Indian summer.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been doing fantastic. You know, absolutely. So obviously, look to his name. You know, we know Jim Miller very well. We know his capabilities. Don't know much about Nicholas Motta though, Chris. How do you think he'll fare? Is this another young guy coming through?
He's beaten a guy that I can't remember who beat Jim Miller a couple of fights ago, but he's relatively known. It's not fantastic as Motta, really. I think this is another sort of pickings for Jim Miller, unless Jim Miller has a really off night. I feel like Jim Miller can continue on with this winning streak, personally, here.
Absolutely, yeah. We look forward to seeing him. A patron of MMA, no question. Yes. Jim Miller, yeah, Mr. Professional. Absolutely. Anything else on the prelims, Chris?
Well, you know, Jacqueline Buckley, because he won knockout the year last year, if you remember. Was it the year before with that spinning sort of back kick? If you remember it, the guy caught his leg and he spun around and gave him a heel kick to the chin. Do you not remember that?
I'd probably have to see it again, but yeah. It might ring bells if I saw it.
Yeah, fantastic finish. He did lose his last fight. The guy's facing, I can't pronounce his name, Stuart, so I'll call him Adol. This guy is a powerhouse, Stuart, absolute monster. And he's got power, and he's a destroyer. And I feel like Buckley's going to get knocked out here quite ferociously.
Chris is calling that one. And I know Chaz Skelly, to be fair, Chris, that's another name that jumps out at me. He's in action at featherweight.
Yeah,
Mark Striegel.
Yeah, and Jessica Rose Clark. She's been around. She's a decent ladies fighter. She's got a good fight against Stiffy Negger. That'll be an interesting one. Rest of them really, Stuart, aren't really fights I can't. Well, Jonathan Pierce is fighting as well, but they haven't got a fighter for him yet. But I'll get rid of that because the card's not really exciting. It's not after all the sort of what you've had.
You get a numbered event and I think you just expect, because you've seen all the top end guys on a numbered one on a pay-per-view, and it's holy hell.
We do have a big fight after this, though, Stuart.
We've got the biggest.
No.
Oh no!
Right. Before that.
Right. Okay.
Makachev is in action.
Oh yes.
Obviously, he's got a big challenge. I can't. Hold on. I'll find a date for you here. It'll be easier. He's facing Dariush. It's Dariush. Yeah. So that's February 26th. So that's a week after.
He's had the renaissance. As I know, we've spoken about Dariush. You know, he's been doing very well. But I'm going Makachev, Chris.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we're getting with Makachev. This is his biggest challenge to date, isn't it? An interesting sort of style, because Dariush, you say, he's on the up. Dariush has been knocking at the door. He had a fantastic win against Tony Ferguson that really pushed him. And obviously, Tony Ferguson's on the way down, but Tony Ferguson's still a name. So if you can win against Tony Ferguson, it's a good lift off in that division for yourself. And then that division is just getting packed full of savages at lightweight. One must consider and think about, where does Conor McGregor fit in all this? Once he comes
I think I can't see him. being anywhere. To be honest with you, mate, it's just too long out the game, and then these guys are just living and breathing it, aren't they? Getting training, getting fights, and he's just not active enough, is he? And we've seen he's struggled. So, I don't know where McGregor fits into it at all. I really don't. Maybe someone further down, but yeah, the top 10, the top 10's absolutely stacked, as you say. So yeah. Anything else before we move back to the boxing?
And after that, Stuart, it is Covington versus.
Yeah, is that March the 8th? That's March the 8th, isn't it?
I'll get that up.
I'm sure I heard that.
Get that up for you now and have a look, mate.
My ears were ringing when I heard that.
March the 5th.
March the 5th, sorry. I wasn't far away, but yeah, 3 days out.
The card so far is relatively decent. Obviously, this weekend's card was meant to be Adesanya versus Fiziev, but they've moved that fight to this card because I don't think Diaz and Poirier is happening because that was rumoured for this card as well. So it was meant to be Covington and Masvidal is the main, and then Diaz versus Poirier is the co-main. But obviously, I don't think that's come to fruition, sadly. But you have Espen Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell. That'd be a great fight. Kevin Holland versus Alex Oliveira. A very interesting fight for Kevin Holland because he really needs to get back on that winning trail, doesn't he? He desperately needs to get it. Other than that, obviously fights are still to be announced for that card, so I won't say too much just in case we get something else. Later down the couple of weeks.
Plenty coming up in the coming months for the UFC then, and we're going to go back to the boxing and Saturday night event. Matchroom, we're back on the zone. We were at the Alexandra Palace in London, the Ali Pali, where we see the darts every year, and fantastic turnout, Chris. It was packed in there. They're all on like low level, really, like floor seating.
I did notice.
But it looked totally different how it's set for the darts. But yeah, it was good to see him back on there. Chris, you went for John Ryder to win because I went for Danny Jacobs, and you're the victor along with John Ryder there because he stunned Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs was doing really well early on. I felt he was boxing well behind the jab, but John Ryder, I thought he's struggling here, but it turned, and I think him being at super middle and being accustomed to super middle did help him as that fight went on. Danny Jacobs had to come up a weight, hasn't he? And John Ryder, fantastic to turn it round. Like round 6, round 7 onwards, it was great to see. And a split decision victory. It was 115, 113 times 2 for John Ryder, and then a 115, 113 for Danny Jacobs, Chris. So yeah, split, but a fantastic victory for John Ryder, who will have Canelo waiting in the wings. But as we said before, Canelo is looking into light heavyweight. So we don't know when that fight's going to be made. But John Ryder's got a huge fight on his hands, when he gets to that. And he was thinking about quitting off the back. If he lost on Saturday, he was looking to be quitting boxing. So he's done fantastic.
Glad he hasn't.
The floor is yours now anyway. I'll let you have a little bit on this.
I only watched the highlights, so I only watched like 8 minutes or so of this today. I see when you said it turned around, I think it was it round 5 and 6 where it spun to Ryder, but I thought like Ryder pulled him into a sort of fight that Jacobs didn't want. Where Jacobs, as you say, was behind the jab and he was really good at those combinations to body, head, body. But it was very tight, wasn't it? Like a phone booth. But I think from like round 6 onwards, Ryder turned it into a dogfight, made it like really rough, and just dragging him into deep waters. I don't think he wanted to be in that sort of rush, frantic, sort of like being in a hell, isn't it, for him in that sort of fight where you're all more of a technical and you pick your spots. Ryder was just coming and throwing everything at him, but the kitchen sink. And I think he fell into that sort of just a fist fight then, didn't he? Where sort of combinations and techniques sort of fell out the window, and it was who could hit first. Head movement was sort of still there because they were slipping quite a bit of them, but I think he fell into that trap that Ryder made him do, and it was throw all this sort of his skill set out the window and fight Ryder's style fight. And you saw them. Ryder got confident, didn't he? And he was catching him quite a fair bit, and he was chasing him down. I thought I loved it, Stuart. The ring would go and he'd come in and pop a straight right into his face immediately. He might miss half the time, but the ID was there.
Constantly going, mate, constantly going. It was just, what a turnaround. I couldn't get over it, really, because I thought, Danny Jacobs has got this. I really felt I couldn't see him getting back into it. But what heart he showed, and I think Ryder said about Danny Jacobs, that veteran instinct that he had, fighting at the lower weights. He did find it tricky from what he was saying after the fight. But another point with Danny Jacobs, he beat cancer in 2011. He's a cancer survivor, and they said he wouldn't box again. And then he came in, he became a 2-weight world champion off the back of it. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with Danny Jacobs now, whether he calls it a day or maybe he goes back down to middleweight. There might be some fights from there. So it'd be interesting to see what happens to him. But yeah, John Ryder is mandatory to Canelo now, which is just a huge, I bet he's elated with that, the way the fight swung.
Oh, no, most definitely. But, you're fighting Canelo next, and it's like, you're excited to fight this guy because he's one of the best in the world, isn't he? And I think, that excitement comes out your arse as soon as you step in the ring with Canelo. And as you say, you'll let you think that you're getting some momentum there, and you're beating him to the punch, and all of a sudden he turns it on, and then you're on the canvas.
Absolutely.
That's what happens, though, isn't it?
John Ryder's got heart, and like we said last week, against Callum Smith, a lot of people had him winning that fight. He obviously was the loser on the night. But he's got tremendous heart. You do need the heart as much as you need your skill. And like you said, Chris, he's gritty. He's a gritty fighter. If he needs to go at you and have a bit of a trade-off, he'll do it. And just so positive, coming forward there, because he was behind. He was behind, and he did so well. Yeah, fantastic performance. Chris, I want to make a special reference to Jody Fleischer as well, the Essex-born fighter, because 3,000 of the tickets were sold by him through friends and obviously people that are following him. And it was his 5th pro fight of his career. Right. Even people travelled from Exeter because he was in university in Exeter. So what a story that was to sell 3,000 tickets. And they could have sold more, so his dad said as well.
Well, that's just fantastic, though. Really, that you can go and do that. Considering it's not like a massive event and it's not huge names. I know you say that Danny Jacobs has fought some of the best in the world, but to go and do that, you got to tip your hat, haven't you, to them, really?
Absolutely. Again, he was getting to journeyman from Spain. The name eludes me. So but the guy's 10-12 now. But it's another fight. The guy's been in there with people, the Spanish guy. So it was a test for him. He did well. He did well with his jab. He looked good. His punching's good. I think he's just learning how to land more effectively. But he's learning on the job, isn't he? But only 22, Jody Fleischer as well. So he's with Eddie Hearn. I'm sure Eddie Hearn's going to promote him well. And just a fantastic night at the Alexandra Palace. It's got to be said, it was a good card. Felix Cash came through, had a bit of a scare in his fight, retained his title. He was dropped twice, I think it was. So he showed a lot of heart. He got the victory in the end. And just as I say, great night for Matchroom. And that was everything on Saturday night, Chris, that I wanted to cover there.
Minus a bit of ruckus between a huge boxing fighter and I suppose it's a UFC superstar, Stuart, on the weekend. That it caught my eye.
Right. Please have lib on that.
I've just looked at the quotes there while you were talking, Stuart, just so I could bring some up. Obviously, I can't screen it because it's on other pages. I think they'll get pissy with us if I brought it up on there. So basically, Conor McGregor and Tyson Fury were going at it on Twitter, Stuart, which surprised me a bit because I always thought they weren't best friends. They weren't friends per se, but they got on with each other and respected what they did. And I remember Fury when he was sort of hinting at coming in the UFC and he was going to train with Conor McGregor, and Conor McGregor was offered to train him. Apparently, Conor McGregor said no, he has not. But so I'll start it off, Stuart. Is apparently Tyson Fury saw a picture of Khabib Nurmagomedov, and we all know the history between Conor and Khabib. He was on the United shirt, which, unfortunately, I get probably pissed off about as well. But this is basically what it started off with. He just said, this is Tyson Fury now. Well done. You got in, you got out. Which I think, that's something I think Tyson wants to do as well, isn't it? Get in, get out, undefeated. Because that's a legacy, isn't it? And Conor didn't like that, Stuart.
He took exception to it.
This is the quote back is, Up the Joyce's, Big Joe. You bottled it with Billy Joe's Dar, which obviously was his dad. What were you doing there? You left him, you Versace twat, done nothing. And then he's like, even when I'm wrong, who did it? The Mac Daddy tonight in the house, Miami, Bahamas. Right? Obviously you're waiting for Fury's sort of reply. Fury's reply is, come back when you win a fight, mush. The difference between me and you is I don't get myself in trouble and people actually like me, just like a bully who hit an old man. And he just big up Hulk Joe in the house, welcome. And then
he has got him there because that's factual. That's very factual. What you said there.
He then repeats after this, and this is Fury again. Conor McGregor has done more tapping than MJ's old dancing shoes.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No.
He's got him by the proverbial short and curlies there.
And Conor's deleted this tweet now, but he wrote back only three times, Billy Dar. Now who's tapping on the teak of my yachts? Big crystal, full proper 12 in the pour. Lambo one has a carbon fiber teak. What the fuck's a teak, Stuart?
Teak's a type of wood. It's like a pine. It's a pine. It is a teak. Teak. That's what he's getting at. So he's got pristine wood on his boat, mate.
Oh well, he's got
rather than pristine wood in his undies.
Lovely. He's probably got shit in his undies. He's definitely got shit in his mouth. But basically, he says at the end, something you've never done. You've done nothing. That's it. There was no more after that, unfortunately. But it was quite bizarre. Like I said, wasn't the two people I'd ever expect to really.
No, because they've been complimentary about one another. In years gone by. Maybe they're fooling us all. I mean, it might be a bit of banter back and forth like that. But yeah, it got a little bit personal. It did get a little bit personal.
Conor's not the same quick-witted guy. We said this off camera. He's not the same quick-witted guy as he once was, where Tyson Fury is on the money and he's so quick. But whatever he said to Conor McGregor is pretty much true.
It's factual. It's factual. The old man getting hit, that happened. The tapping, that was the best one. That was the best quote.
Old MJ's dancing shoes.
There's not much you can say.
No,
because it's there. It's there. There's footage. There's footage. He's screamed on that.
Conor again though, his only come back to that, Stuart, is I've got fucking money,
which he has. But Tyson's got money, not to the level that he's made his fair share. He's made more than enough where he's been able to donate to charity as well.
And he donates quite a lot to charity.
It's the more money that guy's earned, the worse he's got, if anything. Because you remember he was on welfare when he was starting out and all that.
I remember.
He should be a bit more down to earth about stuff. He's got the money and he's arrogant. He's arrogant.
Yes,
he's got the money.
Self-entitled though, isn't it now?
Yeah, Fury will never be like that. Fury, still be working class, won't he? The way his ideals in life.
When I met him, what was it, back in 2014, Conor McGregor, dead nice guy. It was pissing down the rain, took a picture of me. I've told you the story before. Yeah. But he was dead nice. Even in the rain, he'd give me 2 or 3 minutes of conversation with him. Didn't give a shit it was raining. Didn't even get a shit the guy who was saying, Conor, get in the car. And he's like, fuck off. You know what I mean? I sounded New York in then. But anyway, he was telling, and he wanted to speak to me. But if I tried to speak to him right now, he'd tell me to fuck off. You know what I mean? I'm like some sort of peasant on the street to him now.
He was too busy watching Justin Bieber playing tennis the other week.
I did see.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
Did you notice the height difference? UFC have always made Conor sound like he's a tall guy, and then that picture with him and Justin Bieber's bigger than him.
I think it's just he lives the life. There's no question about that. But I think the fighting days, it's just. Yeah,
dwindling.
Yeah, it's like what sort of fight can he get now? Like we said earlier, what
Tony Ferguson? I think that probably that or Michael Chandler. I think he could beat Ferguson. I don't think he beats Michael Chandler.
Chandler. Yeah, it's tough. It's just so hard. I thought he would have fought. By now as well. Since the last fight, it's just Conor.
He couldn't fight now. He's got a broken ankle.
It's still bloody. How long has he been out for?
He only broke it like July time, didn't he?
Bloody hell! I didn't even realise he was still out injured with that.
Have you seen a picture of him? How much he weighs now? Does he think he's going into a 205?
He's like walking around at 190, isn't he?
Yeah, that's it's a lot of weight to cut to 155 from that, and I'm sure he will because he is professional in that sense. But do you think Varda will look at him and thinking you ballooned up?
It's gonna elevate suspicion, isn't it? Him walking around that, but then a lot of people have had fun with that on the socials, haven't they? A lot of people had fun with his weight all of a sudden. Jake Paul being one of them.
Less of that name until I hear a fight, Stuart. I do not want to know about Jake Paul. I heard his song. He did a diss track on Dana White, didn't he? And it's fucking shit. But as usual, it gets numbers.
Hey, you can't. As much as I don't like him fighting, he does generate numbers a lot.
Oh, he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? Dana White doesn't want anything to do with him now. By the way, Stuart, he's come out and said that he doesn't want anything to do with. He wants to sort of close the door on that sort of shit with Jake Paul. Bit worrying to think that after everything that Jake Paul's come out and said, and some things he has said that I had to agree with, like the pay and the medical treatment after the fights and after they finish their careers. So maybe just doesn't want to get dragged into that anymore.
That was a nice little end piece there, Chris, that you put in. That was good because it's been happening, recent. So that was very no. I did enjoy that. Some of them quotes are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But don't have a war of words with Tyson. I think that's the thing he's got to learn there. And the fact he's deleted one of his tweets as well says enough to me that he's been defeated verbally.
I don't think he shut Conor up though. He's someone that he'll come back and do something stupid, or maybe he'll go and have another fight with MGK at their fucking awards show.
Oh God, he only wanted a photo with Megan Fox, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh God Almighty! But hey ho, yes. There we go, Chris. Anything in closing? Any news? Any news for the viewers?
I'll say this. I'm speaking to Lee McGeary about coming back on the show. I'm just waiting for him to get back to me and Stuart. But I think we might have Lee McGeary on maybe next week, but if possible, the week after that. But you'll get all the pictures and all the sort of times when we sort of nail down Lee McGeary. So Lee McGeary will be our next guest when we sort days and times out, so we can speak about everything else that he's been doing since we last spoke to him.
Lovely, former Bellator champion Lee McGeary, who we've had on before, obviously based in Hawaii, but UK born and bred. Doesn't get enough credit. Doesn't get enough credit for his accomplishments, I don't think. He did very, very well. He did very well. But as humble as they come, it's brilliant. It's a lovely, lovely bloke, and we look forward to that, Chris. Hopefully, you can get that penciled in the coming weeks. And I'm down at Cheltenham this weekend just to go on a side. Tajiri, the Japanese buzzsaw, he's flying in this week actually from Japan. So we've got Tajiri on the card. This is Jody Fleischer. Jody Fleischer, one of the most underrated high flyers ever. One of the best wrestlers UK have ever produced because, they went over to America, him and Johnny Storm doing the high flying and all that, and they were ahead of their time. And Jody's been a guest on the podcast as well about nearly 2 years ago now, bit less. So they're in the main event, and Franco Varga also, he's on a 3-week tour at the moment across the UK. Another former guest, he's on the show as well. So look forward to that. And there's a few others that have been on the pod as well that are there. So looking forward to that. Iconic venue as well, the Cheltenham Town Hall. So a typical British, lovely, lovely venue by looks of it. So I'll be doing some live videos before the show, I think. And looking forward to it.
Oh, but what are you doing there? What are you doing with the show?
Commentary I'm on. And then Mike Angus is on ring announcing as well. So I'm going to get to see Mike. Not seen Mike since Christmas, I think it'll be, since we last bumped into one another at the last Superstar Pro show. So, looking forward to it. Just a 4.5 hour journey on Saturday and then the same on Sunday.
And you'll be rough.
But I hope not.
You'll be rough, lad.
It depends how much I drink with Ant, because obviously Ant, Sanj and Kev are coming down to watch the show.
Can people still get tickets for it if they want to go?
There's still tickets available. If you go to Cheltenham Town Hall, they're being sold directly through them. So there are still tickets available for the show, and there's a meet and greet as well. So you can meet Tajiri, and the other guys that are on the card. I think everyone's going to be involved in the meet and greet. But that's £15, so it's not too bad. You're getting a lot for your money. But yeah, that is World Pro Wrestling All-Star Extravaganza this Saturday. So looking forward to that. And yeah, I think that's it, isn't it, Chris? Till next Monday.
Till next Monday, yeah. We'll break down obviously this weekend's UFC. Brook and Amir Khan. We'll have the review of that, our thoughts and feelings of whoever won. We then look ahead, don't we, to Dariush and Makhachev. Hopefully, then we'll have Liam McGeary, or maybe we can get Liam McGeary to give us some sort of thoughts and feelings between Covington and Masvidal. I'd love to know what a former fighter thinks.
I think we need to, because we've obviously had a lot of history on him, so we're not going through the same stuff with him. I think that's a good shout to get his opinions on what's happening with them too. That'd be brilliant, in a fight sense, and what it takes when you're in fight week as well. It's all the psychological side, isn't it, as much as the physical.
Oh, definitely. And, there's going to be mental warfare between them two. Also, Stu, before we end the show, I don't know if you've seen it, but I love the promo that UFC put for Masvidal and Covington. It was really good.
I have seen it.
Really good promo.
Yeah.
Really good promo.
It's going to be amazing. But, they were so close.
Can't wait.
Now they hate each other's guts. It's mad. It's madness. But, yeah, that's life sometimes. These things happen. Rifts happen. And then that's it. But yeah, we will be back next Monday. Not sure on the time, but we'll be posting.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Chris will schedule it. And yeah, we'll see you on Monday for a week on Monday, should I say, for the next one, episode 47 of Powerful.tv Big Fight Weekly. I've been Stuart Palmer. I'm with my co-host and cousin Chris Hume, and we'll see you next Monday.
And make sure, before I go here, you follow us on the socials. It's all in the description down below.
Well done.
All our socials.
Absolutely.
Come and join the conversation. We can still speak after the show's finished. Believe me, I'm up for all conversations. Well, not all. That's a bit weird. Not all of them. But hey, anyway, I'll see you next Monday.
Take care.
Take it easy.